You're hugely successful. People measure success in different ways. I mean, there are book sales, there are movie deals, there are any different number of different ways. How do you measure your success?
Oh, just through how well I connect with my readers. The nicest thing I ever hear, and I hear it often, and it always makes me happy, is somebody will come up to me and say, you know what, after I got out of high school, I really didn't read much. And somebody made me read your book, The Da Vinci Code. They were hitting me over the head with it. Finally, I read it. And you know what? Now I can't stop reading. You reintroduced me to the love of books. And for me, that's the most gratifying.
It's pretty rewarding.
Absolutely rewarding.
If you didn't have readers, would you still write? And it's an odd question, but I think a lot of writers write for themselves in many ways and to get something out. If there were no audience, would you be a writer?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was a writer as a kid. I wrote tons of short stories throughout college. I wrote 3 novels that really had very limited success. Not many people read them, and I continue to write. So I guess the answer is yes.
I suppose most writers are writers without an audience anyway.
Well, it's a tough business. Yeah, I've had both. I've had no audience and a big audience. And
which do you prefer?
I think I prefer the latter.
It's working out.
It's fine.
We have some questions from our Facebook members as well.
Okay.
We'll start with Roxy Cross. Of all the intricate and fascinating details you've come across in your research, which one really surprised you?
Wow. Well, with respect to the lost symbol, boy, just so much. I guess I would have to say that the apotheosis of Washington, this idea that at the very center, the epicenter of America, the top of the rotunda, the Capitol, is a fresco by Brumidi that shows George Washington, the father of our country, ascending as a god. And to me, that was absolutely shocking and really was part of the genesis of this novel.
Well, I think that's part of one of the beauties of what you do, too, because we all think we have a pretty good idea of our history. And the more I read, the more I realize I don't. I mean, this idea of a deity from George Washington is pretty remarkable.
It's a little shocking.
To Brittany Compton, with all the buildup and suspense surrounding the release of books and the Robert Langdon series, do you feel you have any added pressure each time you sit down to write the book?
I probably do, but I've learned to just ignore it. I've got a great publisher in that they don't call me every day and say, where's the manuscript? They know that I'm working as hard as I can work. It'll be done when it's done. And the reality is that putting pressure on yourself, whether you're a creative person as a writer or whether you're an athlete or a musician, it really interferes with your performance. You need to just be free, exhale, do your work, and when it's done, it's done.
Claire Gibson wants to know what your favorite symbol is and why does it resonate with you?
My favorite symbol? At the moment, my favorite symbol is the circumpunct.
Yeah.
And it is my favorite symbol because of the universality of meaning, the fact that it's been used by so many traditions in so many periods in history.
Peter Shearer wants to know what inspires you when it comes to writing villains. They're always the most interesting characters in your books, he says.
I agree with him.
Yeah? This one certainly is interesting.
Moloch's got some issues. I write very archetypal stories, archetypal battles between good and evil. In all the ancient myths, there are monsters that haunt your hero. And if you look at a character like Silas, or certainly a character like Moloch, these are barely human characters. They are archetypal monsters. I mean, Moloch is transforming from human into we're not sure what. And so I'm always fascinated by the mythological resonance of these villains, because they are by far the most interesting and pathetic characters.
They're almost monsters, but they're almost superhuman too.
Well, absolutely, because they're going up against somebody that your hero, you hope, on some level, is superhuman in the sense that he's a little bit more than ordinary.
So the lost symbol is out, and what's next? You're not working on a book now?
Well, not as far as anybody knows. But certainly I've got a lot of ideas, and I always think of novels as they come together like galaxies, giant clouds of dust, and eventually planets start to form, and we're sort of in the dust cloud phase at the moment.
Do you ever worry that the dust cloud might not form into something?
No,
there's always something there.
There's always something there. Nature abhors a vacuum, and sadly, if you're looking to take a vacation and you're a writer, it doesn't happen easily.
No such thing.
The voices are there.
Well, it's a good thing you brought Sidney Sheldon on your vacation.
That's right, exactly.
Dan Brown, it was nice to talk to you.
Well, the pleasure's mine.
That's Dan Brown. I'm Steve Bertrand. This is Meet the Writers from the Barnes & Noble studio on BN.com.